Good morning, Nicole.
Good morning.
Welcome to the Friday morning Great Start Community Connections. And we are delighted to have you with us today. For anybody watching or popping in, I'm Jean Faivor, and I'm the parent liaison with the Great Start Collaborative and Parent Coalition of Charlevoix Emmett in Northern Antrim County. Hopefully, you found our Facebook page and are getting all hooked into all things early childhood. And we have a special guest today. Nicole is with us. She is, what's your official title? Are you coordinator?
Early on coordinator at
Early on
Sharon
coordinator.
ISD. Mhm.
Okay, so I don't know, Cole, if you want to introduce yourself a little bit. She's super active in the community. Maybe tell us what you do, how long you've been doing it.
Okay, so my name is Nicole Lindwall, and I am the early on coordinator working at the Charlevoix Emmett Intermediate School District. And I have been doing this role, I actually have been in for 10 years, but I've been working in the field of early childhood for, I was just thinking about this today, 20 years, which I didn't really want to say out loud because that says a little bit about how old I am.
Nah, we're all there.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. Um, so we, I mean, in the early childhood field, especially in Michigan, we have all these different names and acronyms and agencies and organizations, and it's super duper confusing sometimes for a family with young children, especially if they've not been part of raising children.
Mhm.
And so we've got early on with the SHARM ISD. So maybe if you want to explain a little bit what early on is and also maybe what the SHARM ISD is and does, that might help clarify um, where we're coming from.
Yeah, no, happy to do that. And you're right, there's lots of names that often sound very similar, and it's hard to dissect who does what. So early on is the state of Michigan's offering for early intervention services for children ages 0 to 3 years with delays and disabilities. And early on should not be confused with early Head Start, which is also a program that offers services to children birth to 3. So that can be really confusing. But I wanted to mention that early on is different in that, and we can talk a little bit more about how this happens, but children qualify for early on based on a delay or disability. It's not income based. If you go to a different state outside of Michigan, they will offer a similar program, but it might not be called early on. Each state has a different name for early intervention. The early intervention is basically working with babies and toddlers, and the name for it in Michigan is early on. And the organization that houses this program is the Charlevoix Emmett Intermediate School District, and otherwise known as the ISD or SHARM ISD.
Or just
You hear
SHARM.
SHARM,
Hmm.
which gets kind of thrown around a little bit.
But it also
Um,
encompasses Northern Antrim County, so let's.
that's correct. It's Charlevoix, Emmett, and Northern Antrim County Intermediate School District, and basically that organization is sort of like the state organization that provides services and support to all of the local school districts. And they typically are known for providing special education services. So when people think about special education, they think about the ISD. They do a whole lot more, but that's just kind of one thing that they do that people tend to identify.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good problem because there's so many services available. It's only
Hmm.
when it gets confusing about where do I go and how do I get that. And so when we
For
did
sure.
have last week or the week before, Corey Burden was in talking about early Head Start. So we have that
Good.
video if anybody wants more information about that. Home visiting services for children 0 to 3, more income based, and doesn't have anything to do with ability or disability. So
Right.
check that out for sure to start getting those things straight. So early on is for children with delays and disabilities 0 to 3. So
Mhm.
how do I know if I qualify or if my child qualifies or if I should call or um, how do I know if they have a delay or disability?
Mhm. Well, there's so many different layers to that question. So the first thing I'll kind of tackle is how the referral comes to us. And then I'll talk a little bit more about how to know. But we receive referrals to early on from lots of different sources. So it could be the parent that calls or accesses the online website for referral and says, my child's not talking, or my child's not walking, or I have these concerns, and they might place the referral themselves. But we also receive lots of referrals from the pediatrician's office, from the health department, from our friends at Early Head Start. It could be a child care provider, it could be DHHS, the WIC nurse. There's lots of places that might refer the child based on their concern that the child might be falling behind. So whoever that family interacts with might place a referral. It could even be a grandparent. So anyone can make a referral, but ultimately it's the parent's decision if they would like to participate.
So what happens? I get a referral, and then, so if I don't make a referral, my doctor does, or a grandparent does. I get contacted by somebody from early on, and what happens at that point?
It's generally going to be me that would call or text. The first contact I make is usually a text. I feel like that's more respectful to our families in this day and age. I know I would prefer a text first before somebody I don't know, calls me. I might not pick up. So it would typically be me. Once I receive the referral, it generally will text the family within a day or two, just to let them know that a referral has been placed, let them know who placed the referral,
Okay.
and also kind of just say, we'd love to have a couple of nice ladies come out to the house and do a developmental assessment with you and your child if you would like. Um, Happy to give you more information. So it's just kind of like a first contact. And then if the parent wants more information, we'll, arrange a phone call and talk it through. Sometimes parents are immediately just like, yes, what do I need to do? And so then it's just a matter of helping them get through the process of signing. We have some consent forms for them to sign. And then once I have the information that I need to move forward, then I forward the child's information and the family's information to our early on evaluators who are home visitors. There's two of them that would come out to the home at whatever time is arranged between that evaluator and the family, whatever works for them. And they would do a pretty brief play-based developmental assessment that lasts about 45 minutes. And at the end of that assessment, they're able to tell the family kind of where that child is in their development. And they look at every area of development. So it's gross motor, fine motor, communication, adaptive, and social emotional. And they can say to the parent, he looks like he's pretty well on track. Families like that because they can say, okay, all right, now I know not to worry about it anymore. Or they might say, we are seeing that there's a delay in this area and that would make him eligible for our services. So that's kind of how it goes. But the parents they might say to me, no, I think he's doing okay. I really don't want that service. And that's okay. It's their option.
Is that something as a parent, so I can see both, right? I'm worried about my child, and I want everything to be okay. So on the one hand, maybe I want it to be okay so much I'm just gonna push through and hope it happens. Um, if is that like, do you get like a black mark on your record? It's like, hey, we tried to contact this person and support them, and
No,
okay,
actually the opposite. So what'll happen is I like to offer options,
hmm,
especially because we do get babies that are brand new from the NICU that might be premature. We'll get
okay,
referrals from the hospital, which I should have mentioned before. But sometimes, people have got a lot on their
hmm,
plate, and so it could be, hey, either I don't think there's anything wrong, or things are really busy in my house right now. I don't have time for this. Or, I've got a brand new baby that I just brought home. I'm just focused on the things that I need to do. And so what we'll say to them is, this may not be the right time. Would you like me to call back in a month? And I put it on myself. I don't ask
right.
them, I say, I would be happy to put it in my calendar to call you back in a month. The hospital made this referral, but you may feel like life is just too much right now. And I think parents really like that because that gives them the ability to say, like, not now, but maybe later. So that's one thing that we do. The other thing that we do is if the family just says outright, nope, not interested, I'll say, why don't you save my number? And if you change your mind, just give me a call. It's okay. It's my own cell number, so they can call me directly. If we get to the point where the evaluators come out and evaluate the child, and let's say the child doesn't qualify, but the parent might be concerned, we can arrange to come back in a few months and just see, did he make progress? Did he
Mm-hmm.
not make progress? So there's never, like a black mark on anyone. And in all honesty, I'm a parent too. So I want parents to feel like they have the option to
Mm-hmm.
say, yeah, this would work for me, or no, no, it won't. And the other thing is, there are other things that parents can do if their child is delayed that might not involve early on. There are, through their pediatrician, they could ask for outpatient speech therapy or something like that. So parents get to decide. It's their child. They know what's happening in their life. They know their child, and they may choose to do it. They may choose not to, or they might say, maybe not today, but maybe a different day.
Yeah, that's super important. I just, as a parent with a busy life,
Mhm.
the, all the concerns about bringing somebody new and a professional in, when sometimes I'm just making it up as I go along. That just like that kind of fear, that intimidation of being judged. So not making the right choices for my child, or not having the right things. Whatever it is. So that's always a concern with any like home visiting programs or anybody coming to evaluate you. It's really intimidating. So it's helpful to know. I know you, Nicole, and the home visitors, what wonderful people they are and how supportive they
Super
are.
nice ladies. I always say that I got two nice ladies that are going to come out to your house. Don't clean your house. It's totally fine. I know I would feel the
Hmm.
same way.
Right.
And you
Yep.
think about home visiting, you're like, oh God, do I have to clean my house? Or,
Hmm.
what are they going to be judging me on? Are they going to say, like, oh, you don't play pat a cake with your baby? And so, no, it's none of that. It's completely supportive. And I will say that once families get used to the home visitors, they really actually enjoy having them out there, because this is a person who has their full attention on you and your
Hmm.
child. They're super supportive. They know what life looks like. They have kids of their own. And their goal is just to make sure that we just catch your kiddo up. That's all it's about, is catching them up, developmentally. So
Yeah.
we always say, don't worry, but don't wait, because it's easier to do the younger they are.
Yep, agreed. And just having that non-judgmental person in your life. And I've also heard the stories of people with home visitors and all sorts of different programs. Just it's so scary at first, and then I never wanted them to leave. Like we became close, and they were so good with my kids, and just all that modeling that happened. So to tell me, then you have a referral, you get the home visitor, you qualify. Then what is early on actually going to provide for me?
Okay, so I kind of describe it as two separate layers of services depending on the need. So let's say the baby, and I should just mention also that we have not only children who are delayed and have disabilities, but we do have children with medical conditions that we also qualify automatically, because we're allowed to, because there's science that says that they are at risk of a delay. So,
Hmm.
for example, premature babies with really low birth weight, children with syndromes, or possibly like a child with spina bifida or Down syndrome or something like that, we can also automatically qualify. So once that child has their developmental assessment and we talk with the family and the family says yes, they would like to participate, what service we provide kind of depends a little bit on the severity of delay. So if it's just a mild delay, we will use our early on service providers, who I like to describe as like in-home teachers, and they would do a coaching model with the family to help them bring about that developmental progress that they're looking for. And then we also, because we're a part of the Charlevoix-Emmett Intermediate School District, and I had mentioned our connection with special education, we do also have children that we're going to see that are going to come in at a more severe delay. And we have the opportunity to also say to the parent, we're part of a team of early childhood individuals that also includes a physical therapist, an occupational therapist. We have speech therapists, we have early childhood special education teachers, we have school psychologists. So we have a larger team that also can work with children who might come in at a more severe delay. And we might recommend a special education evaluation and add a layer of special education services on top of it. It sounds a little confusing, but everybody starts at the same point where we do that little
Mm-hmm.
developmental assessment, and then we say to the parent kind of what our recommendation is. It's either an in-home teacher, and it might be once a month,
Okay.
or it might be like, okay, well, we're going to do something a little bit like more like once a week with a speech therapist because this child is showing a more significant delay. Again, parents get to choose all of this, so they may say, no, I don't really want that. I don't really want special education services. That's their choice. But some parents might say, yeah, I really want to throw everything at it. I want to make sure that he's getting everything that he needs so he can catch up in this particular area. So,
That's amazing. So, birth to three. So we've done this, and I've had a home visitor from early on, or in-home teacher, whatever, based on the needs of my family and my child. Could be weekly or monthly, and it could be for multiple years, even then, until they get caught up.
well, okay, so good question. So, birth to three, right? So, we work birth to three. And as we start getting close to that third birthday, we're having lots of conversations with the family because we want to make sure that the next step is laid out and that parents have all the information that they need to make the choices that they need to make for what they're going to do for their child. So, for a child with just a really, a small delay, as I mentioned before, after age 3, they would kind of graduate. They would finish out through early on. Um, we are very connected with Early Head Start and Head Start, so if the family is interested in preschool for their child, we'll help, facilitate that process of going to preschool, particularly through Head Start. Um, but for those children that we suspect would qualify for special education, or if they're already receiving special education services, we would help facilitate what we call a transition to the special education services through our early childhood team, which is basically our preschool team. So we're connected, which is really nice. Not every single area of the state is, but because we're housed within the Charlevoix-Emmett Intermediate School District that is already providing special education services for preschoolers, we all work together. So we're all helping the family move to that next stage, which can be a little scary for families because they really like, you know, got my little home
Mm-hmm.
visitor and we come to the house and we have a great relationship and now my child is going to preschool and that's really scary, or now they're going to receive special education services um, in the office.
Mm-hmm.
So that can be a little bit scary for them, but because we're all on the team together, we're lots of introductions, we're helping get used to that idea. They may have already been working with that particular provider who's going to be working with them at preschool. So I feel like we can do that pretty seamlessly.
Awesome. Yeah, and Savannah said she's loving the focus on parent choice and family comfort during each phase. And yeah, agreed. You're not going to get buy-in otherwise. So I think that's
No,
really
and we
critical.
every single thing that we talk about, we sit with the family and say, "What do you think? Like, how do you feel about this? What do you want to do?" Some of the kids that we work with might be eligible to be in an early childhood special education classroom. Some parents don't want that. Some parents don't want preschool.
Mm-hmm.
And so we will provide that service within, you know, we call it walk-in, but it's basically in the school. There's like a little office that a speech provider might do the work with the child. So all of those conversations happen with the family, and then we talk with the family about like, what do you want to do? And it, as you know, it runs the gamut. Some families are just like 3, I want preschool, I want them in there. And then you have some parents that are just like, they're just 3, they're only 3. Like, why are we doing preschool already?
Yep, for
And
sure.
we're like, okay, yeah, whatever works for you. Sometimes there's a really sweet grandma that wants to hold on to that 3-year-old for a while, and that's good. That's okay. So,
Yeah, definitely. We're all coming from different places. So it
mhm.
sounds wonderful and amazing and supportive for families that might be struggling already with concerns about their children. So, what does it cost families besides their time? Do they
Zero.
zero
No, this is
dollars?
this is a program that's offered through the federal government, so there's no cost to the families.
That's critical and amazing.
Mhm.
We're short on time. Nicole, did I not ask you anything that you would like to share about the services? I think you've explained, who you are and um, how the process goes to get a referral. You can refer yourself, or you can have a referral from a professional or anybody that works with your children or knows your children. You get services from 0 to 3.
Yeah, just our referral website is 1-800-EARLYON.org. And it
Put that in.
generates a fast, confidential referral to myself, and it's pretty immediate. So 1-800
And that
earlyon.org.
really,
And what we say to families is don't worry, but don't wait. If we can get in there and help out a little bit, we're surprised and always excited about the level of progress that young children can make.
it's beautiful. And my last question to everybody is always, if you have like a favorite memory or a favorite, like something that you just felt was really successful or a connection made in your past. How many years did you say it's been with early on?
With early on,
7?
it's been 10
10
years.
years. So is there anything that sticks
Uh,
out?
what I will say is I don't have one very specific memory or story, but what I love and what just warms my heart is when I hear my colleagues in preschool say to me, "Oh my gosh, have you seen so and so? You should see him in preschool.
Mm,
You wouldn't believe it. He's made so much progress." Or remember that kiddo that we saw in the home and like this was going on and this was going on? You wouldn't even pick him out in preschool. He's doing so great. And that I know that's not true in every single case because every human is different, but we need to hear those stories. We
mm-hmm.
love those stories to hear about these kids in preschool who are just rocking it. And I feel like we feel good about the fact that we might have played one tiny little part of that with 100% parent support and work on their part, but to feel like we are doing the right thing at the right time to get these kids ready for preschool. It's super enjoyable.
Well, I love it. And Nicole, thank you very much for being on with us today. And if anybody wants a referral to early on, I put the website in our comments. And if you have any questions for Nicole, you can also put those in the comments at any time, and we will shoot them over to her and have you get back to her. So
My pleasure. Thanks so much.
you're welcome. Have a great day.
You too. Bye bye.